Hi everybody, sanibonani. Welcome to my channel. Gama lami nguNtando Mdletshe, and on this channel siyaye sifunde incwadi ebhalwe ngolimi lwethu lesiZulu bese siza la sokhuluma ngazo le ncwadi esuke sifundile sixoxela laba phela abasuke bengenaso isikhathi ukuthi bayifunde incwadi nalaba abasuke benqena nje ukufunda. Siyaphinda futhi sibuka ama reality shows ethu ala eMzansi bese siza la sokhuluma ngawo lama shows, senza ama reviews or ama recaps bese siyaphinda futhi sikhuluma nga any other issues avukayo uma ngabe lama shows sesiwabukile ku TV. Uma ngabe uyaqala ukusijoyina namhlanje and you really like our content, ungakhohlwa ukuthi upress usubscribe button la ngezansi bese uyaphinda futhi upress notification bell eduze uka subscribe ukuze phela uthole umyalezo uma ngabe sesiwufakile umsebenzi omutsha kule channel. Kanjalo futhi uma ngabe uthanda ukuba imember yale channel ungakhohlwa ukuthi upress ujoin button la ngezansi bese ulandela ama instructions azokutshela ukuthi uba kanjani imember yale channel. Listen guys, we're doing the full review of the reunion, Real Housewives of Durban season 2 reunion part 1, and guys, the fashion was fashioning, the hair was hairing, the makeup was makeuping, the weaves were weaving. The private jets were private jetting, and the petals were petaling. Everything, guys, was on point. But the host, I guess he was hosting too. He was hosting too. I'm not happy with the host, you guys, but I'm gonna wait and until I watch the second part of the reunion and maybe do my review of just the host in himself. But I will make certain comments, you guys, because there are certain places where I wasn't happy with Mr. Donovan. As we start, okay, you know, they show us while they're getting ready, they're doing their makeup, doing their hair, and the producers, being as shady as they are, they had to show us, you know, the controversial hairdo that got her a backlash from Ilokuzana from social media because they thought it wasn't it, and people were saying they are hoping it's not the look for the reunion, and it was the look for the reunion. You know, when you are mean, sometimes you get mean back, but yeah, actually she was bullied so much for that hairstyle that she actually removed the picture from her account after the negative feedback. So yeah, so they're all ready, and then they do the whole walk in where we get to see their outfits, you guys. Of course, I'm gonna do a video where I talk about their outfits and show you guys what they were wearing, but I'm also waiting to see if they post any professionally taken photos of what they were wearing at the reunion. I was taking them from what I'm watching it on my computer, but we'll see, and then we'll do it about the fashions. Of course, you guys, I had some disappointments, and overall all the ladies look really good. I expected Makhumao to take the cup, really, guys, because she's all about the fashions, but it didn't happen that way for me. And Nonku as well, I thought she was probably gonna be one of the best dressed, and yeah, but overall they really looked good, even though I will do a video about the outfit separately. But for now, I think Sorisha and Annie, they are taking the cup with their outfits for now. Tell me what you think about their outfits, guys, below. And yeah, but after I see the other photos that they will post, then I will make the final judgment as to who looked really good for me. So guys, on the left, the sitting arrangements were as we had discussed on our sitting arrangement video. On the left of the host, far left, it's Makhumao, and then it's Jojo, Londyland, and it's right next to the host, it's Annie Unkosikazi Kamthembu. And then on his right, far on the right, obviously it was Sorisha, but after Mabusi arrived, it was Mabusi right at the end, and then it was Sorisha, and then it was Nonku, and then it was Unkosikazi Kapetal. I don't understand how Unkosikazi Kapetal got that seat, you guys. Like, I can't complain about these producers anymore, because honestly now, like, why would you give that seat to Lassia and not give it to Nonku? I mean, really now. You know, but those were the sitting arrangement. The sets really it looked good, but I didn't feel like they made as much of an effort as other franchises do when it comes to the sets of the reunion. It just did look like a decorated tent to me. I was trying to figure out, so what is this venue that it looked like it could be a tent that they just decorated. And the host looked good in his suit, you guys. I think Donovan is a nice guy. I just don't think that this is a gig for him. I really don't think that this is a gig for him. And the host started with like light jokes about his outfit, how he's looking. He's greeting everybody, talking about greeting Jojo in Zulu, and asking them how they feel about the reunion. Nonku saying he's hoping the Holy Spirit leads the reunion. The Holy Spirit does not exist at the reunion. And then they talk about how they arrived at the reunion. They use a private jet. Apparently they all landed at the reunion. I'm guessing that they shot it at in Joburg. I'm not clear about that. I'm gonna find that information. So Richard says, I don't know if she was just joking. She said she flew commercial, but with priority. They were just laughing, you guys, and they were talking about Tobile always smiling. She said she always smiles, honey. So it was a great introduction. For me, that was enough for. Like that, those few minutes of the jokes for me. I thought, okay, I don't know when you're a comedian, you got your chance to be a comedian. Now let's do the reunion. And then the first segment, you guys, they talk about the spring has sprung idea and whether that really worked for the women, because it was an idea of let's just start over. Whatever happened last season, let's start the friendships over. Let's start all of our relationships over. And so Risha doesn't feel like it worked. And Jojo says it was hard. She was nervous joining the group, and yeah, I can imagine, because she was new. Her and Londyland and Makhumao were new, and they dived into it, you guys, because one of the things that happened very early on in the season was the conflict between Lassia and Utobile. And funny enough, that conflicts, you guys, and the tension really was taking place behind the scenes more than it was taking place in front of the camera. It was taking place during the interview sessions more than it was taking place when they were in contact with each other. And Lassia says that she always felt like she might have not handled that situation correctly, because she felt like they needed ukuthi badlule somewhere benothobile bekufanele bahlambuluke but again, and it hadn't happened, and she couldn't just pretend and move forward. And honestly, I think that Lassia was taken off guard by a response to Makhumao, because I think they are so used to Makhumao not saying anything, and they think that that's who Utobile is. That's not who Utobile is. Some of us know, because we know her from Ulokuza Notandone's team. So I think that because she expected her to not say anything, because she doesn't normally say anything, in response to Makhumao imthusile Lassia, that she ended up ubebonakala even ebusweni ukuthi uthukile ukuthi Utobile is responding the way that she's responding. And Utobile says no, she doesn't think that what Ulachongo is saying is true. She thinks Ulachongo, that's who she is, and you can't hide who you are for a long time, and at some point it's going to come out. I guess ngekathe khuluma ngoSathane not ubekhuluma ngoLachongo. But the Saturday thing, I was like, but you're pushing it. But Ulokuzana, Makhumao was giving it back to Ulokuzana. It was the first time that I saw Ulachongo etuga, you know. And Ulachongo is saying, I don't know why she was bringing Ulachongo thinks everything is about husbands and fiancés and men. I respect Babum Selegu, ini, so I respected you. And Makhumao was like, no, you lie. Well, she didn't say you lie, but she said, no, if you respected my husband, then you will respect me as his wife. Guys, that conversation was going deep, because even Umake was saying, you know what, Lachong, you really don't have to pretend, because the thing about you is that you would say all of these things, and then when I see you, you're wanting to give me a hug after everything that you've said about me. And you don't have to pretend. We can just be real about it. Just when they are getting deep, you guys, guess what happens? Donovan interrupts. I think because Donovan has questions in his cards, when they are now talking about something that is probably not in his card, he doesn't let them do it, because he's supposed to improvise. Like, the women are going deep with their relationship, let them, and ask more questions. Like Makhumao, when she was saying, you know what, you don't have to pretend. And Donovan could have asked, why do you feel like she's pretending? Give us instances where you felt like she was pretending. And he never asked at the end, where does your relationship stand now, and do you feel like you're going to be friends in the future, the two of you? Because that was their segment. It was a segment that they were talking about the relationship. K and Lachong, are you guys resolving it? Are you having an understanding moving forward, or this you are leaving things hanging? And he didn't handle this segment good. Ulokuzana Donovan, I didn't like it. Like when they were really going deep, he just cut it and moved to the next discussion. Now they also talk about Lassia and Londy, London. It was the beginning of a friendship. They show us really like great clips when we really liked that beginning of a friendship between Lassia, Beno Lokuzana, Beno Londy, London. And Ulondi says that her issue was, because she was the one who was asked first about the friendship. She says her issue is, if you are a friend with somebody, you're gonna know about their home, where they live, issues about whether they're in a relationship or not, whether they are married or not. If you don't know these things, that you are not friends with somebody. And I understand that with Ulokuzana, Londyland, but I just don't understand why she would not ask her friend away from the other ladies. It's friend, we are building a friendship here, but I don't know anything about what's going on. But she waited until that time when everybody was wanting to be mean to Lassia. And then the thing is, when Lassia is trying to answer, because obviously Lassia has dated the former president, she knows how to answer questions in a diplomatic way, like she's Ramaphosa answering questions about corona. About corona, she says she still feels the same about the friendship. I'm like come on, like she feels the same about the friendship. She says your public domain is not the same as my public domain. There's no public domain. Well, I guess there is, because they are on Real Housewives. It's not the same as mine. So your experience being a public person is different from mine. She was trying to say that, but getting interrupted by Londy, because Londy says, no, wait, guys. I didn't get a chance to say, even for me, the friendship at the beginning was just as fun as she's saying it was. But I just feel like she wasn't open. And she says, I'm used to not sharing everything about myself. So even though we're having fun, we're having all of these phone calls, when you start asking personal questions, I always just shut down, because that is what I am used to. And I'm hoping that as a friend, you will understand me. That's who I am. That's how I do things. Even there, you guys, because Lassia was talking about the fact that it's all that she's doing is because of her past. They could have gone so far about that. What do you mean it's about her past? Are you talking about your relationship with the former president? What are the things that happened that you can tell us about that led you to feel like when you are in a friendship, you need to shut down? Those questions could have led to something when it comes to a relationship. Talking about the relationship, Lassia, Beno Lokuzana, Beno Londyland. That conversation was supposed to be longer and it was supposed to be deeper, because really, honestly, that was the only friendship that we saw being built on Real Housewives. And the fact that it went bad so early, when they could have resolved things. And at the end of that segment, you also don't understand where they stand in friendship. Are they still friends or not? And are they still willing to try? And what are the things that they expect from each other if they continue with the friendship? Donovan never asked those questions, because those questions were obviously not on the cards that were on his hands. He did not. So it was just a segment that just ended. No conclusion, nothing. We move on to what Annie and Nonku. Now, he's asking Ulokuzana, Donovan, about the friendship between. When the segment starts, I feel like he is trying to. It's a segment about Sorisha and Annie, but it turns into a segment about Annie and Nonku. When Ulokuzana, Annie is being asked to explain what were the issues with her and Nonku, she says ukuthi for her, the very thing that happened at the reunion season 1, where her and her mom, they did to Ayan, it didn't sit well with her, and it was hard for her to get past that, to be able to build a friendship with Nonku. Nonku said, she says, yeah, she's always liked to, and she's always said she likes to, but she feels like Annie is fragile, and she pretends. She said she puts out a tiger, as if a tiger of a person. She says, let me say it like she said Annie is very fragile, but she puts out a tiger of a person. In a way, she says, we have many similarities between me and Annie, and we could be friends, but it's just something is holding her back from being friends with me. And Usorisha says, she says, can she offer some clarity too? She says, also her, when she started first season, she didn't think of Annie as her friend, but she says they spent some time together, and she shared Annie about being bullied when she went to study in London. Even though that issue really offered clarity as to who Annie was, I didn't feel like that was something that Sorisha should have shared, because it is Annie's story, And I think maybe she was telling Sorisha because they were becoming close, so I didn't feel like she should have shared that to Annie Sorisha. But I do understand she was just trying to clarify. Even for her, it took time until she shared that. When Annie shared that story with Sorisha, that's where she she started to understand Annie better. So she feels like with everybody it's going to be like that. It's just going to take time, but Annie's not a bad person. And it's like she says she feels like Annie takes time to drop the guard down. Funny enough, because people are saying this about Annie, saying Annie takes time to put the guards down when building a friendship, but that is what Lassie is doing too, but she won't let Lassie do it. Sometimes in friendships or in relationships, we have the most problems with people that are similar to us, because there's things that we see in them that are us that we don't like about ourselves. So like a person that you fight the most against is the person that has the most similarities to you, but it's just that the things that they show you are the things about yourself that you don't like. And I think I'm starting to feel like this is what is happening here with Annie and Lassie, because even Annie doesn't share a lot about her life, and Annie doesn't share it. So, and we don't know whether everything that Annie has shared about her life is true too. What if somebody went and investigated and found out that there's a part of what she has shared in the little that she has shared that is not true? There are similarities, and I think it was great for Sorisha to make that input. I just don't know if moving forward with her friendship with Annie, it might be a problem that she shared that story that Annie never shared with anybody. Annie talks about how difficult the season was for her, because obviously, online, and she said her husband helped her a lot. She says, my delivery is not soft, but there is who I am, and you have to take me as I am. But she does talk about, she was getting to talking about how difficult it was to get that feedback from social media, and then Donovan interrupted, you guys. I felt like it was a trend. That's a reason why sometimes you get the reunion having 2 parts, you get the reunion having 3 parts and 4 parts, because a lot of the times, if the women have more to talk about, you let them talk about it, and the more they talk about it, you ask more questions, and then the more they go deep, you go deeper, and you take them as deep as they want to go, and you take them as far as they want to go. And I feel like that is the instruction that Donovan didn't get, because as soon as they wanted to go deep, it was like getting emotional here when Annie was trying to explain how the feedback from social media affected her and how her husband helped her. We didn't get the details. What exactly was happening? What are the type of things that were being said that upset you, and how did you recover from that? That was such an opportunity, you guys, for us to get really deep with this conversation. Then Donovan, as he's gonna do many times in this reunion, didn't do. He didn't go deep, didn't allow them to go deep, and he didn't take them deep, because you can just shut up and let them just talk some more. and then if they stop, then you just ask more questions, so the conversation goes deeper and deeper. And that's how we are going to relate to these cast members. And he's not doing that for us, guys. He just has cards, and he's asking questions on the cards, and if he feels like you've answer the question on the card, he's moving on to the next question. We're not getting the best. This reunion could have been more than 2 parts if he really did, or it could have been 2 parts, but better 2 parts. This was just a fun sit down for housewives. It wasn't the reunion, but we'll say it's a reunion because they are calling it the reunion. Then they had to go to that to the segment where they talk about the statement, all men cheat, all black men cheat, and white men by. Listen, Nonku stands by her statement to say, listen, what I'm saying is what I believe in. That is where I stand. And then she says, they ask her, how do you know how white men buy? She said, yes, I haven't dated a white man, but I have people in my life that have dated white men. So, and that statement is well known. I know that was the first time. All men cheat. I know, but white men buy. I don't know it to be true, but yeah, we don't know. But she stands by it. But at some point she says, yeah, all white men buy except for Calvin. Except for Calvin. Donovan does ask, did your husband want to respond to that at the table when Nonku was saying? She says, yeah, he wanted to. I told him to shut up. Calvin, you have to shut the F up. And then when she realized, she says that, she said, no, but I didn't say shut the F up. I just said don't respond. But apparently he wanted to speak up, Kelvin, at that point. I mean, he was the only, him and Sorisha's friend were the only 2 white men that were there. I would guess that they would want to defend that, but she wouldn't let her husband do that. Okay, now this is what upset me. I was like, yeah, why are they doing my girl like this, you guys? Because listen, Mabusi came, guys, and she came and she dished it out and she gave it to us, everything, and the reunion became better when Mabusi walked in, and you guys, I mean, if we don't give the flowers to Mabusi, nobody's ever going to give the flowers to Mabusi, because it's clear that the producers of this show are not going to give the flowers where the flowers are deserved. They didn't even give Mabusi an honor of an entrance, because everybody has an entrance. Obviously they didn't she didn't enter with them. So at the beginning we see all of them, their dresses, you see how the dress looks when somebody is walking, everybody gets that chance. When Mabusi comes, it's like we go on a break, we come back, Mabusi is sitting there. Like really, you're not gonna give this lady an entrance, like a proper introduction, even when somebody walks in, the host will sitting down will say, guys, coming up is Mabusi Sam, and introduce her just like she introduced her, and then she walks in and we see her dress and she sits down. She didn't even get that. Obviously she did walk in and sat down, but they edited it out for some reason. Like, I'm just not over that. I don't know. They start talking about the WhatsApp group thing. And of course, you guys, if you're going to come for Mabusi on something, you have to have a memory up to par. Mabusi reminds me of Candy Berries from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, if you come for her, remember everything that you have ever done and said, because she's going to remember the conversation exactly as it happened 25 years ago. So don't think that you're going to get under something with your statements here. So they talk about the WhatsApp group. Why was it so important? She says she was feeling left out at this point, because everybody, when they're sitting and talking, everybody is talking about this WhatsApp group, a message that was on WhatsApp group, and she's not on the WhatsApp group. So she just wanted to be added, so she's on the loop. She says now she's added, there isn't much that's happening in that group anyway, so she feels like, oh, okay, I wasn't missing much. I can understand how she feels. So they're asking Nonku what she thinks about, before that they asked Jojo and Annie says that she didn't understand why Mabusi was pushing so much for the WhatsApp group, and at the time when she had opened a WhatsApp group, she made everybody an admin, but when they were pressuring her to add Umabusi. She didn't think about the fact that how you guys are also admin, you can also add Umabusi. But she says the first time that she added, she created the WhatsApp group, they were going to do something. I can't remember what she said. They were going to do something, a project that she wasn't involved on, Ulo Mabusi. So, and as we know, she's a friend of the show, so she doesn't do everything that the other housewives do, and as a result, she wasn't needed for that particular thing, and so she wasn't added in the group. And then moving forward, they just used the same group. Her explanation really made sense with any. I just don't understand moving forward when they are planning trips and all of that. Just add the girl. So Donovan had this thing of every time they talk about other people's relationships, then he will go back to Nonku. Nonku, what do you think about this? I don't know why. Maybe he just has a crush on Nonku. Like everything that was being talked about, he wanted to go back to us. Nonku, what do you think about it? Anyway, Nonku says she doesn't understand why Mabusi was pushing so much to be on the WhatsApp group, and Mabusi is like, okay, girl, she's like, Nonku, because the very first person that talked for me to find out was there's a WhatsApp group, it was you who talked about the WhatsApp group, and you said I was fun, and why don't I be added to a WhatsApp group? And we were all surprised. I found Nonku to be fake when it comes to this particular thing, because how are you going to be the one that tells Mabusi to about the WhatsApp group and be asking to be added to a WhatsApp group, but when you're on camera you look like she's making a big deal about the WhatsApp group? This is the same thing she did to Mabusi in season 1, where Mabusi knew her from somewhere, but she came on TV, she said she doesn't know Mabusi, so she clarifies that to Mabusi to say, listen, I heard from her, she's the first one that brought up Nonku, the WhatsApp group thing. So, and then I felt like I'm missing out on stuff when they are not including me in the WhatsApp group, because I feel like maybe they're active, they're planning stuff, but when I was actually in the group I realized there's not very much happening there anyway. And then they go into talking about Lassia and Mabusi and their friendship, which is a beautiful thing, you guys. I think that's the only real friendship in this group that doesn't depend on whether you are rich or not. And she says she really appreciates Lassia, because she had a difficult time in season 1 with the ladies, and Lassia was the only one that unconditionally accepted and welcomed her to the group, and she really appreciates the friendship, especially because the person afike ngayo, which was Nonku, rejected her. And then with Jojo, and then they asked about the relationship Mabusi with Jojo, and then that question that she had asked about Ido Kuzana, the bags being real, and then Jojo, well, Lassia says the thing that surprised her about that issue is that Jojo was asking if Mabusi is wealthy or not, and she says, but how can it depend on money or material things whether you become a friend with somebody or not? Why can't you just be a friend with somebody? Why does somebody need to be wealthy for you to become a friend with them? Jojo defends that. He says, no, I just asked that question because it was an ambitious game and all of that. And Mabusi defends herself to say, but what you missed is that behind the bags, or whether the bags are fake or real or not, the clothes, you missed that behind the brands is a person. So you missed an opportunity to build something with me, a friendship with me, because you were looking at what I'm wearing or what I'm carrying. So you missed that. I thought that was a good point to make, and I think that's why Mabusi is friends with Lassia, because they loved each other regardless of all the other stuff that we watch, whether they're carrying real bags or not, whether Petal is real or not. They just loved each other unconditionally, it seems. So okay, and then but I like that segment, you guys, because Mabusi was not having anybody talk about her without her responding. At some point, she shuts people down and she's like, listen, you're going to let me, this is my platform too. She claims her place and she's like, this is my platform, so let me respond to it. It's like, I want to respond it, because she wanted to explain that you chose to only look at the material stuff. That's why we were not able to be friends. Okay. And yeah. And then yeah. I wrote here Donovan disturbs because he did, you guys. It was a great back and forth between Mabusi and Jojo and what's her name? Nonku. It was a great interaction, and I felt like it could have gone on a little bit longer, because Jojo is not answering the question as to why it's important for you that somebody is wealthy before you can consider them as a friend. Why would you even say that's I don't know if you're wealthy or not. So, and there are more questions that could have been asked here. And also, just to clarify, because when Mabusi says how Nonku, but you are the one that started the WhatsApp conversation, Donovan should have said, Mabusi, Kanti, you're the one. How did it come about that you talk about the WhatsApp group? So why are you acting surprised now when she's asking to be added to a WhatsApp group? If you were the one that initiated that conversation about the WhatsApp group, he missed all those opportunities, Donovan. And also, I could have just plain asked Ulokuzana, Jojo, are you sure that it had nothing to do with race? The fact that if this person is carrying these bags or whatever, you don't think that a black person can be just as rich as you and carry this bag just as beautiful as you, that cost imalefana and all of that? Are you sure that it didn't have? Because on social media, there's been a lot of comments about Jojo, people feeling like she has racist tendencies, and I think these were the opportunities to ask her those questions. And the fact that, why do you think a single woman cannot buy themselves what they buy? Is it not because you yourself are only rich because your husband is rich? All of those questions were not asked, you guys, because Donovan just disturbs any conversation that attempts to go any deeper than the surface. So the reunion is very surface, the same that Fejo would do it. And yeah, it's our host, guys. We have to, it's like our parents, whether we like them or not, they are our parents, And then they get into the Nambiti issue. What was the aim of the trip? Londyland said the aim was to get to know each other. And then Donovan asked, should you have told everybody, Sorisha, that you were traveling on a private plane? She explains to Sorisha, when the private plane thing was decided, it was Vivian who did. And at the time, Makhumao was there, and he invited Makhumao. And then we invited Annie, obviously, and he said I must invite. So Sorisha is saying as if it was her husband's decision about who to invite on the plane. And then they talk about that scene where Jojo says shut up to Nonku, and Jojo says that she felt like it wasn't she felt like Sorisha was getting upset at the table, and she can see that she had tears in her eyes and she was trying to defend him. And Nonku says, but that wasn't her place. We were talking to Sorisha. Sorisha could have responded. And then they start having that conversation about, here's the thing as well, you guys. Donovan doesn't ask anything about Jojo's actions. She doesn't hold Jojo's accountable for that action, for hitting the table like that and coming so aggressive towards Nonku. He doesn't. He just takes whatever explanation, surface explanation that they give to him. He just moves on. Like, he really is a horrible host, guys, for the reunion. He is. I hope they don't bring him back next season. And then they finally asked, Tobile, what did you hear? This was the most boring part of all. Because I'm thinking, Tobile has been hiding. Send up. You know what iskakla is? Lassia said, Sorisha, was it between Lassia? No, Mabusi. They said, ukuthi Sorisha chose Annie because she's scared of Annie, which really might be true vele. And then she chose George because she's jealous of George, which might also be true. Like, I'm like, that's all you've been hiding, girl, for months and months and months and months. We've been waiting to hear this crap. Of course it's bad, but it's not as bad as I thought, you know. I'm sure Sorisha is like, how, girl, how? And you guys, she says apparently they were, because they didn't have rooms, I guess they were gonna go and then they were given a room Makhumao to change in and whatever, and that's the room that they were talking you know, and they could hear in the other room. It means the ladies were in Sorisha's room. Now Makhumao says ukuthi une cologne yakhe that got stolen or went missing. Do you think Donovan asked, what? Hi, something went missing in your room? He didn't ask anything. Makhumao just said, by the way, the cologne went missing, and Donovan didn't ask anything. Nobody said anything, you know. I was like, how can you not ask such a question? Because then Makhumao is implying that the lady stole her cologne. That's what she's implying. But nobody asked the question. What do you mean? Do you mean that because they were in your room, they took it? You know, anything could have happened. There's also stuff coming to the room and all of that, and they know it's in and out, so it's hard. It's gonna be hard to see who stole it. He did not ask anything about that, guys. Do you know how much that fire that could have brought to the reunion if he just asked for clarification? Clarify it went missing, how, when, you know? And yeah, Nonku seems to agree, because there was that back and forth of, are you sure that's what we said or whatever. Nonku agrees, listen, yeah, you said we said some things, I agree with it. And Sorisha says, yeah, she believes Utobile. And this is where Mabusi saves the reunion, in the first part of the reunion, because while Donovan wanted to move forward, Udlona was like, wait guys, wait, let me just have my peace here. And she looks at Sorisha. She says, Sorisha, that was a very heated moment between me, Nonku, and Lassi. Honestly, we shouldn't have said anything that we said about you. You did not deserve it. You have been nothing but kind to me, and I'm really sorry. And it was such a precious moment for the reunion. This is the person that they've decided that they're only going to bring for a certain part of the reunion. These ladies haven't apologized to each other. They haven't settled anything. I like that, you guys. I like that. And Sorisha was very receptive. It was an emotional moment. When Lassi sees Mabusi is taking the spotlight now, she decides to apologize. The person that didn't apologize is Nonku. And then Sorisha decides to forgive. And she says that she feels like the circumstances that night led them to feel the way that they felt at that night. And she feels like she just wants to let go of the issue. Obviously, I'm sure if she says circumstances, they were tired, we feel private jets, and then they don't have the room, it was heated. She feels like that, so she wants to let go of that issue. But the queen of mean is like, hi, Sorisha, how can you not be mean? Let's be mean together. How can you make excuses for these women? They talk crap about you, and you're making excuses for them. And Sorisha is like, listen, I've lived my life many years. This is how I live my life. If I've said what I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Annie really wanted Sorisha to be mad, but Sorisha was not having it. And then Lassi apologizes, but Lassi's apology did not sound as genuine as Mabusi. I feel like she apologized because Mabusi apologized, and while that apology is going on, Donovan interrupted that segment. And now Nambiti game. In Nambiti game, they talk about Nambiti game in this segment, Annie's cheating husband. Who did they think asked that question? And then they talk about Makay's question, and Umakay said, Umakay really, Umakay has really joined the ladies in looking down at Mabusi and thinking everything that happens in Real Housewives is Mabusi's fault. She says she initially thought that it was Mabusi who asked that question, but then Mabusi told them which questions she asked. So someone else in that group asked that question, and it's interesting that she doesn't want to find out who that is. And the Nonku question, and then they talk about why Lassia was so heated by it. She says no, she just felt like she shouldn't mention Lokuzana or Ayanda in that question. It's talking, but it's like Uktugumood, because Lassia says that in marriage, Ayanda and as features, she experienced it, it worked, it was a great marriage, and to talk bad about it, I feel like it's unfair, and the fact that Ayanda was not around, it's unfair. And so Risha still stands on I feel like it's her story, Nonku, whether it includes the other people or not, but it's her story, and we really just have to accept it and let her speak. When she needs to speak about, tell her story, let her tell her story. We can't stop her all the time when she wants to talk about her experience when it comes to this relationship. Listen, guys, that was the first part of the reunion. Honestly, I had very low expectations of it. It did meet my very low expectations, and I was hoping that the host was going to surprise me. He did not. I am so impressed with Mabusi. If they don't give her a full-time cast member position, I don't know what they want. Yes, but that was the reunion for today, you guys. There's a lot that we're going to talk about when it comes to the reunion this weekend, but I keep checking out for the videos. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like the video before Pumegiona, share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Nginithanda kakhulu.